Welcome to Career Exploration 1. I'm excited to be teaching this course this semester, and I'm excited to have a chance to meet you in person, get to know you, and to take this journey as we go through to try to help you figure out what direction to go in. And so you're probably wondering why I have the air traffic controller headgear on. I just want the sound to be a little bit better, and I have this pitchy, whiny voice that doesn't exactly resonate. So, all right. So first of all, I just want to say thank you. You could have picked a lot of different schools. You could have picked a lot of different programs. You could have done a lot of different things, but you chose to come to Elms College, and I appreciate that. And that means a lot to me. And this is a special place, and I think you're going to be glad that you're here. There are good people here. They're going to know you. You're not going to be a number. They're going to know you. It's not like you're going to be going to courses in giant auditoriums where you're going to be student ID number 653-A47. They're going to know your name. Now, on the flip side, they're also going to know if you're not in class and if you're not doing the work. And so they're going to put in alerts and make sure that you get the support that you need. And that's something we're all really committed to. So, how is this first week going for you, right? I mean, you're dealt with moving a lot. One thing about me, I'm a big fan of the Muppets. And so any excuse I have to stick a Muppet in a PowerPoint, I'm going to do. And I know right now you're thinking, wow, what a great way to welcome us to the course with a video PowerPoint. Thank you. But here we go. So I want to check in and see right off the bat, if you have questions, if you have problems, if you have existential crises, if you don't know what those are, just Google existential crises or ask Google Gemini. The one time in this course that you can use AI is if I say something and you have no idea what I'm talking about. And that will happen a lot because I'm a little weird. But don't use AI for your papers. I'll know. But if you're having questions, if you're having problems, existential crises, again, please feel free to reach out. My door is always open. I want to be here to help support you. So part of what this course is about and what all of our roles are for you this semester is teaching you how to be college students. That's not what I mean. But more along the lines of how to be an effective student. And so this is syllabus week. We're actually going to have a quiz on the syllabus because I want you to be aware of the syllabus. I want you to read the syllabus. I want you to know what's in the syllabus, and I'm going to hold you accountable for what's in the syllabus. So at the end of the day, it's in the syllabus. What the heck is a syllabus? You may be wondering. You may ask yourself. Well, um, it is an outline of the subjects in a course of study of teaching. It actually goes back. Now, you're at a Catholic institution. It actually goes back to the Roman Catholic Church. It's a summary of points decided by papal decree regarding heretical doctrines or practices. That's not the definition we're going with. That's not how we're using it. We're doing the first one, an outline of the subjects in a course of study or teaching. We're basically laying out the plan for this course and what the expectations are. A little bit about me. Well, let's see. Since I made that first video to welcome you, I've been here for another 2 years. I've been here for 3 years. This is going to be my fourth year at Elms, but I've actually been a career director this will be, I believe, my 12th year as a career center director. But probably a total something like 25 plus years of career service experience in a variety of different roles. I mean, I've worked in a one-stop career center, worked with folks who had economic disadvantages, folks who had um, been dislocated workers, which means they were either laid off or um, lost their jobs. I've worked with folks who've had some serious barriers to successful employment. And so it's something I'm pretty passionate about. I've been doing it for a number of years. I know my way around a resume and a cover letter, but I'm also a student. As I've mentioned, I'm further along now. I've survived the comprehensive exams, and I'm now beginning work on my dissertation towards my PhD in history. I always say, career center director, heal thyself, because there's not necessarily a less marketable degree than a PhD in history. I just love history, passionate about it. I'm going to Liberty University, and I'm a big fan of their football team. One of the happiest days of my life, because as we'll find, I'm also a huge Patriots fan, was when the Patriots drafted Pop Douglas, a wide receiver from Liberty University, and he's arguably our best wide receiver on the team. So I've been to a couple Liberty games when they've been up here and played UMass. They've won both of those games. Last year, I actually went with the director of financial aid here both times. He also goes to Liberty. They won both times. Last year, though, they won in overtime, and they really struggled all game long. And they would have lost the game except the UMass field goal kicker missed the winning field goal. And then in overtime, the UMass kicker missed the extra point. And so we drove down, we scored and kicked the extra point, and we won in overtime. And they fired the UMass head football coach the next uh, week. So I take a little bit of credit for that. But the year before, we were in a New Year's Eve bowl, and we were in the Fiesta Bowl, major New Year's Day bowl. And if they'd stopped counting score after the first quarter, we would have won 6-3. We were playing the Oregon Mighty Ducks. Unfortunately, they kept playing the game, and we got blown out. But we have a problem with Oregon. They beat us in, I think, baseball, and they knocked us out of March Madness last year. So it's been a rough go whenever we face the Ducks. I am a crazy Patriots fan. I really do have those six replica rings. I would like more. I'm very excited that we now have Coach Mike Vrabel. And this really was the happiest moment of my life when Malcolm Butler jumped in front of that pass and sealed a Super Bowl for us. That was just about to be snatched away by the Seattle Seahawks. So that was number 4 for those of you counting at home. So this is my daughter. And I have a daughter. She is a surgical resident. She's in her last 2 years. She's at East Presbyterian Hospital in New York City. She's probably removing someone's spleen right now, legally, because she's a surgeon. This is my wife there on the right, might be your left, not sure. The one with hair, that's my wife. She is an alum of Elms College, class of 96 for psychology. They didn't let women in Elms when I was an undergrad, so I'm sorry, they only let women in when I was an undergrad, so I couldn't come here. And so I went to Westfield State College for both my undergraduate and my master's degree of education. I was an English major for undergrad. But my example is kind of why I think this course is really important, because I shouldn't have been an English major. I should have been a history major. That was really where my greatest strengths lay. Um, I wasn't that interested in English literature, except for Shakespeare. Really dug Shakespeare, but for the most part, wasn't really into English literature, and so that was a mistake. I should have been a history major, and so I would like you not to have that same struggle. Now, when I went back for my graduate degree, and it was the 4th attempt I made at a graduate degree, because I had tried an MPA, which is a master's in public administration, and realized I really don't like Excel sheets. I had tried a master's degree, master's of arts in English, and suddenly realized, nope, this just wasn't for me. And I tried a master's degree in psychology, in some type of psychology. It's been a few years. And I realized that wasn't right for me either. And then I saw the MED in history, and I was like, oh, I'm really interested in that. And I just It was a match. I just took off, and I remember being really intimidated because it was an MED. There were a lot of teachers in the course who were working on their permanent licensure. And I was like, they're going to eat me up for breakfast. And to my surprise, when I went in there, I was doing rings around them because they didn't care about history, and I did. They just wanted their licensure. And so they would come into class trotting out the same lame excuses that their students had been giving them every day for not doing their homework. Whereas I was just like, going wild on history. And I remember being so disappointed when one of my fellow classmates uh, picked the first book, and I was like, "Hey, that's great! You're really taking the initiative." And he was like, he looked at me, he was like, "Well, it was the smallest book." I was like, "Okay, okay." So in the future, if you do go on for graduate study, one of the things you should keep in mind is what is the value added by the other students. And I quickly found that in that graduate program, I wasn't getting any value from the other students. Um, and so I remember very clearly one of the better students, she had done the book. It was one of the later classes when we were dealing with some of the culture wars in education. And they had read the book Culture Matters. And her big takeaway from the book Culture Matters was, wait for it, culture matters. She said it like 5 times. And so when I decided to go on for my PhD, it was really important to me that I didn't want to drive 45 minutes to a campus, wait an hour, try to find food somewhere, uh, sit in class for 3 hours, drive another 45 minutes back home, try to get to sleep, get up, go to work the next day, do all the work, go back up a second day that week, do more work, and try to do it that way. So for me, the right decision was to do online, and that's what I'm doing. Liberty University's in Virginia. I have never actually stepped foot in the state. It's actually a Commonwealth, the Commonwealth of Virginia. I've never actually been to Virginia. Um, my plan is if I complete the degree, I will go there for graduation, and tour. Maybe after I'll go to an occasional home game, which might be fun. One of the cool things is so it's a Christian university. At the start of the fourth quarter of all the games, the crowd, the home crowd starts singing "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey, and I'd really like to experience that. Um, so online education worked for me. I don't waste my time in a class when I could actually be doing the work on my own. And I don't have to sit in a discussion that goes nowhere because no one did the reading. So you'll notice that there are three dogs. Those are my three previously mentioned Australian Labradoodles. They're still named, you probably saw a video of them in the first video, Canton, Cadence, and Franny. Franny, if you remember from the video, is the one who is guilty of malware. She's the one, actually, I didn't tell you that. Uh, when she sits in my seat, she sits right in front of my laptop and I can't get to it. So effectively, she's malware and I have to give her a treat to get her to move off. I'm such a crazy football fan that Canton's named after the city the Football Hall of Fame is located in. Cadence is named after what the quarterback is named, what the quarterback changes at the line of scrimmage. They changed their cadence. And then Franny is named after Connie Francis, who just died not that long ago, a famous country western singer. I wanted to tell you that she was named after Russ Francis, the famous New England Patriots tight end, but that would not be true. The breeder named her. Moving on. So my name is Jay Marshall. You can call me Jay. You can call me Professor Marshall. Don't call me Mr. Marshall. I'll think my father is crashing our class. Um, my preferred method of communication is email. I hate talking on the phone. It's nothing to do with you. I hate telephones. I hate talking on them. Might be because during one of my less prestigious stints, I was a telemarketer. So I really hate being hung up on. Um, and I hate when telemarketers call me. So maybe it's post-traumatic stress or something. But if you call me, I will answer and I will talk to you. I really don't like talking on the phone. So I prefer email or stop by. Drop by to see me. My office is located on the second floor of the library. Our class is in the basement of the library. What we try to mark it as the well, but just go up 2 floors and I'm in the library. Just ask for Jay. My office hours are Mondays through Friday, 2 to 4 p.m. I'm usually here, but walk-ins are fine. And appointments are available as well. We can also communicate over video. I think one of the things I hate about telephones is I can't see a person's face, so I can't see how they're responding to what I'm saying or how they're saying something. But video chats, I'm down with. It's just talking on the phone. I'm not a big fan of. So let's answer the question that you may be wondering. Why are we doing this class? Why are we making you take this class? Well, this is the formal answer, but really we want to make sure that you have all the information at your fingertips so that you can make an informed choice about your major selection. I started as an undeclared and immediately insisted on becoming an English major, and I rushed my decision, and it was a mistake. I didn't realize that for years. Did not realize that for years. And so I want you to have all the information. And so I'm going to bring in all the division chairs to tell you about all the different majors. And then you can have them in the room and you can ask them your questions and you can share what's really important to you. They're going to want to get to know you. They're going to know what's important to you, what your hopes and aspirations are. I want to know that too. And we're going to kind of get at that. In fact, one of our first assignments is going to be, what are you thinking about your major? It's a 2-page paper where I'm going to ask you to share where you're at right now, in real time. What are you thinking? And um, and then we'll do it again as your final paper the last week of class to see if it's changed and what you're thinking now. So we're going to have you take some assessments I really like to kind of get at what's really important to you. We're going to try to look at this a variety of different ways. I was going to try and take into consideration what's important to you in terms of income, lifestyle, and see if we can put all this together so you can make the best choice you can at Elms. So what is the grade based on? That's a 1 credit course. Some get a little carried away. I'm going to try to remember it's a 1 credit course. So a fifth of the entire grade is actually attendance. The career fair, attending the career fair appropriately, and we'll teach you what I mean by appropriately. That's another 25%. So we could say that showing up is 45% of your grade, you know? So now by attendance, I mean active participation. That means showing up reasonably close to on time and being present and being active and having good comportment. And it applies for both class and for the career fair. In fact, attendance might even be more because there's a quiz grade related to career fair prep. So something to think about. So again, 20% for attendance, 25% for career fair. The final paper where you share with me your final thoughts on where you're at in this process is 10% of your grade. All the quizzes you're going to take, and you're going to take a quiz after each class, and we'll talk about that. I dropped the lowest one. That's going to be 10% of your grade. Homework is going to be 35% of your grade. The lowest one will be dropped. Now, your homework will include that. What do you think about your major assignment I already mentioned? You're going to explore a website that we pay for you to have access to called What Can I Do with This Major? It's a really good website where you can actually research a major and find out what the pay looks like for jobs, what kind of jobs are available, really kind of get at what's involved there. One of the assignments, you're going to do a handshake profile. And so that is the service that the college pays for you to be able to access to search for jobs and internships. And that with a really good profile, employers and internship sites may actually contact you directly. But I mean, a really, really well filled out handshake profile, that's going to be an assignment. I'm going to have you take another assessment called the Career Explorer that's going to look at your interests. It's also going to provide you with some access to your Holland codes, and I'll explain what those are. It'll also give you a personality test. You're going to make a resume, a good resume. And after I tell you everything that's wrong with your resume, and I grade that assignment hard. That is one of the hardest assignments in terms of the grade that I give. I'm really hard, but I'm going to give you a video lecture and I'm going to give you some tools to be able to use to make that resume, but I'm going to grade it hard. Now, you will have the opportunity to make corrections on the resume that I give you and resubmit it for an additional grade. And again, I drop the lowest homework. So that could end up substituting it unless you really tank on some of the other homework assignments. Don't do that. But you'll have a chance. So I'm going to be really hard on that resume, but you're going to be able to improve it with the next one. And again, I dropped the lowest. Now, you also make a LinkedIn profile. If you don't know what LinkedIn is, we'll address that as well. I'm also going to have you take the MBTI assessment and write a 2-page reflection on that. And those are all your different homework assignments. So again, this is a 1-credit course. I have designed this rubric to make it hard to fail. Now, you can still fail this class. And the best way to fail this class, I'm not recommending this, is not to show up. Because again, attendance, as we talked about, is 20% of the grade. Actually closer to 45, maybe even a little bit more, is in attendance. So showing up, just like any job, a large part of it is showing up. And so we're going to stay consistent to that. I've cut the 52-page paper down to just 26 pages. It has to be in Turabian formatting, double space, proper citation. I'm kidding. Why would I do that? Well, I'm a little mean-spirited, and this is the only form of entertainment that I have when football is not in session. The season hasn't started yet. So, no, it's only going to be a two-page final paper. Don't worry about citation. Don't worry about formatting. Worry about the strength of your ideas and what you're sharing with me. So that's the cool thing. But when I say 2 pages, and this is one of my pet peeves, I mean 2 pages, right? They can be double spaced, but I want 2 full pages. Don't be like getting cute and using a 20-point font, right? Making the words so big that they take up extra space. Don't be adding extra spacing. Don't give me 1 1/4 pages. Don't give me 1 1/2 pages. I want 2 full pages, right? Otherwise, I'm going to deduct points. I'm saying that right up, so it's not a surprise. I'm only asking for 2 pages. You could write 2 pages even before you have your first cup of coffee, but I want at least 2 pages. Don't use Chat GPT for this class. Really, this isn't a tough class. And really, any paper you're writing is going to be about what you think. Not looking at the grammar. I don't care about the grammar. I don't care about the spelling. As long as I can understand or figure out what you're trying to get at, I just want to get your ideas, your thoughts, not Chat GPTs. If I wanted Chat GPTs, I'd send a friend request to Gemini or Grok. We're going to have the division chairs come in. Yeah, I have a little problem with puns, sorry. And they're going to share, as I mentioned, about their majors. These are people who can help you. I expect and require that you're going to give them your full attention and your full respect. They deserve it, and we're not going to accept anything less. And 2 things, if you want credit for being at that class, you're going to be paying attention to them and you're going to be respectful towards them. Also, the difficulty of the quiz that you take after they come and visit our class will directly correspond to how engaged, how closely I think you're paying attention, and how respectful I think you are to our guest. So if I think you're zoning out, if I think you're playing Words with Friends, no one plays that anymore. If I think you're playing, Candy Crush or whatever on your phone, if you're on your phone, If you're not present and engaged in the class, you're going to have a really tough quiz. It's going to be like, I'm going to be asking what color tie they were wearing. So, because you're not going to be meeting my expectations for classroom participation, classroom comportment, any of that stuff. And that's really important to me. Respect is really important to me. I give it and I expect it, particularly for people who come in and are guests. And for all of you, you're going to be respectful to each other. That's really important to me. Those are the ground rules, and those are not open for debate. Attendance class participation, again, so important. I'm beating a dead horse here, but the material covered will be germane to assignments, is also essential to that grade. I will allow you up to 2 unexcused absences. Use them wisely. After that, it starts hitting your attendance grade. You're responsible for the missed content, work, and assignments. You are responsible for that. You got to own that. But go to class. But I mean, things happen in life, right? I threw my back out last week. Things happen. I ended up getting to the age where even when I'm trying to take care of myself, I'm exercising on the Bowflex and I got a little carried away and felt something pull. And sure enough, I tore something in my back. So, yay, me. Something could happen. You could have car trouble. You could get sick. You could get COVID. You could have a death in the family. I'm not trying to give you ideas about excuses. But things happen. But things don't happen to people every single week. So I'm giving you 2 free. Use them wisely. But this is my other big pet peeve. His name's Hank. Class will begin immediately at the start time designated for the class. If you're late to class, we're not starting over. I know I sound like I'm being a hardcore jerk. Maybe I am, but it's one of my pet peeves. We're not going to just restart because we've got 50 minutes to cover everything. And if we keep restarting, then not only are we not going to get everything done, but the people who are there on time are going to have to hear it twice. And my wife tells me I'm not all that funny the first time I tell a joke, so the second time, a lot less. So, you know, first half of class, if you show up, it'll count. After that, if you arrive 20 minutes or later, it's not going to count. It's going to be an absence because you weren't there for enough of the class for it to count. But we're not going to repeat ourselves. Class starts when it starts. Just like practice. If you're an athlete, you show up late to practice, because I think you're probably doing some laps. I think you're probably running, right? If you're late to practice, you're probably not starting. So we're going to have the same expectations for this class. We're going to expect you to be on task and in class until the minute the class ends. Don't be, putting together your books and stuff and making a distraction. That's also a pet peeve of mine. Wait until you're dismissed. Now, the flip side of that is it's my job to watch the clock. And I do this very carefully. When we hit 11:40, it's my job to say, all right, even if the division chair is going, it's my job to say, oh, I'm sorry. We have a rule. They get to leave at 11:40. That's when the class ends, 11:40. So don't, be disrupting the class by putting together your books and, your pens and trapper keeper. I don't know if that's still a thing. Putting on your jacket, moving your chair. That'll really upset me. Assignments are due when scheduled. If you're struggling, please reach out to me. Don't disappear. Don't ghost me. Don't just stop turning in assignments. I'd rather have you turn it in late than not turn it in. Don't skip assignments. That's how people really mess up their grade. So do please reach out. Late work will receive deductions at my discretion, generally of 10 points, but get the work in. Again, this is an easy class. I'm not asking you to do rocket science in here. I'm not asking you to deactivate a bomb. I just want you to to do some work that we can point to that shows that you're utilizing the material in class. So yeah, get the work into me. I also don't want to grade everything the last week of class, so, but don't disappear. Don't not respond if I reach out asking for work. Level with me. Tell me what's going on. If you're not showing up to class, if you're not turning in assignments, I got to put an alert into the system, and you're probably going to get contacted by the assistant dean for student success. You'll get to meet her in week 2 or 3. It's on the syllabus. It's in the syllabus. So it'll actually be September 19th, which is also Meet Your Advisor Week. Your advisor, who is that? It is Nancy Davis. Again, the assistant dean of student success. So you get a chance to meet her here. You probably have already met her. I want you to know that the last day to add or drop a class is Wednesday, September 10th. The midterm grades will go out Friday, October 17th. And that's really a snapshot of your progress. And so if you're not doing great, that's when we'll know. And there'll be time to turn it around, not just for this class, but for all your classes. And so, you know, if we get to that point and your grades aren't looking good, we got to turn that around. And, we've got the tutoring center on the second floor with me. I don't run it, but it's on the same floor as me. You can get some help. You can get some study skills. You can get some time management skills. You have time to turn it around, but hopefully we won't need to do that. Also, you will register for your spring semester on October 27th through October 30th. You'll be given a specific time to do that. And final grades are due. This is more a me thing than a you thing. I am required to submit them by Friday, December 19th. And I like to do it early. So I don't want to be chasing you down for late work. I got to put in a grade. So keep that in mind. This is the Career Explorer assessment you're going to take. Again, LinkedIn, you go to linkedin.com. So on the SoCanU, I'm going to give you a link to be able to go and take that assessment. LinkedIn, you go to linkedin.com, you're going to create an account. You're going to make a resume. You're going to make a better resume than this awful resume that I've shown. Don't send me a resume like this. We're going to do your Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or MBTI, and we're going to interpret it. Friday, December 12th, 2025 is our final exam. I have to be here. We are not going to have a final exam. We are going to have that 2-page final paper on your final thoughts. Right now, the way I have it scheduled, it looks like you may even be able to do it in class on the 5th. And if you turn it in before the 12th, you don't have to attend the final exam with me on the 12th. Because what we'll be doing on the 12th, if you don't have that 2-page paper done, is we're going to be doing that 2-page paper. I'll probably be playing on my phone while you're writing. It'll be deep into the NFL season, so I'll probably be checking what's going on in this weekend's games. Maybe I'll be ruminating over what kind of bowl bid Liberty will be getting. But if you don't want to spend time with me on the 12th, get that paper in, and you won't have to be there that day. And you're not going to want to be there that day because it's the last Friday of finals. You could go home. You could hang out with your friends. You could see mom and pop, get caught up on Christmas shopping if you celebrate, and or whatever. You could be doing better things than sitting in a classroom with me in the basement of the library, writing a 2-page reflection paper. Even I know I'm not that entertaining. So classroom participation requires proper comportment. That's how you present yourself. Civility. That's how you behave appropriately. And collegiality during class. featuring attention to what the instructor or other class members are sharing or the activity underway. Students are reminded of the Elms College statement regarding civil discourse and respect for diverse viewpoints in particular. All members of the Elms College community will treat another with tolerance, civility, and respect at all times. Insubordination will not be tolerated. Also, that goes for online as well. We're not going to have that. So we're going to be civil. We're going to be respectful to one another. That's what Elms College is about. That's what Elms College stands for. It's about being kind to the dear neighbor. And we're going to stay true to that. We're going to hold you to that. We're going to hold me to that as well. This class is intended to be a safe place where students can feel empowered to explore possible majors and careers and to take risks. The expectation is what is shared in class remains confidential. Everyone registered for this class is undeclared, and the class participants are expected to be here to support one another through this decision-making journey. If you're an athlete, it's the same thing as your teammates. So expect the same. What is not permissible, what I will not stand for, is negative demeanor, rolling of eyes, staring at a cell phone, talking to other classmates unrelated to the subject matter being discussed, or rude or generally disruptive behavior to anyone. These will all damage the student participation grade. I will allow you to have your cell phone in class because I think it's a safety issue today. But I'm going to hold you accountable for it. But you can have it in class. Something could happen. You could have a sick relative. There could be a family emergency. I want you to have access to the phone. Heaven forbid something happens, like a tornado or something, and people need to be in touch with you, or you need to be in touch with them. I want you to have your cell phones for safety, but I don't want you to have it there so you can play games or text your friends during class. In addition to the above, active participation will be determined based upon speaking constructively during discussion and sharing your perspective. It also includes others to participate and politely listening, considering their points of view. It is not only the amount of participation, but the quality of that participation that will be considered. There's no napping on the desk. I'm sorry. I didn't schedule this class Friday mornings at 10:50 in the morning. That's not my fault. And I'm sorry that the class is on Friday morning. I'm tired too. For most of those classes, I will have been watching Thursday night football on Prime because I love Amazon Prime and I love football, and that's where the game is. I'm dragging too. Get a coffee. We talked about phones. Against the safety issue, I want you to have it. I don't want you to be on it. Right. There is a statement of honesty um, that will be in the Moodle shell. You'll be held accountable to it. I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen it yet. I saw the old one that was in the required boilerplate. That's again a pun because that's a boilerplate. Um, I saw the old one that was in the syllabus, so I actually don't even know. I'm gonna have to read it when they put it in there, but it's gonna be in all the Moodle shells, what the academic honesty requirements are. Um, we are um, student accommodations are a real thing. If you believe that you are in need of an accommodation, you want to see Dr. Tom Osborne. He is on my floor. He's in the office right around the corner from me, Dr. Tom Osborne. He can be reached at sass, S-A-S-S, at elms.edu. You can email him directly. I don't even have to be involved. And that's between you and him. If you've had an IEP, if you've had a 503 plan, I think I got that right, you may be eligible for an accommodation. If you get injured and your injury impacts you in the class or your mobility, that may also qualify. I am not qualified to speak on accommodations. Um, Dr. Tom Osborne is. And so I encourage you to reach out to him with any questions or needs of that sort. He will then facilitate whatever is appropriate. And if you do require an accommodation for this class and it is granted, I will fully adhere to it. I do reserve the right to change this syllabus at my discretion after notifying you in advance. Not because I'm an evil person, but because things can change. For example, there is a professor who I have penciled in for a particular date, and there's some question about if we have to move that date, so that may change. Um, and we're going to have to work out a time to see one of the other professors on a Thursday. Uh, and it may be as a group, it may be individually. And so we will work that out. What if you make the wrong decision? I want you to know that um, I did mention that I made a wrong decision, but I made the best decision I could at the time. I drink a lot of coffee. I made the best decision I could at the time based on the information I had available. That's really all you can do. And things work out. If you major in business and come to realize you should have been a social worker, there's nothing to say you can't go back and make changes. You've got the degree. To me, the most important thing is that you get a college degree because that makes you more marketable. How you then use that degree can change, but you've got it. You've got that degree and they can't take it away from you. So, say you've got a business degree and you realize, you know what? This just isn't the right career for me. I wish I'd done social work. You could go back and do some prereq classes for social work. You've still got a degree, and then you could go once you have those prerequisites and then enter into a social work program at the master's level. It's doable. Same thing with with other degrees. Again, my undergraduate was in English. It wasn't in history. I already have a master's degree in history, and I'm working on a PhD in history. So even if you make what you ultimately decide is the wrong choice, um, I'm going to quote a song that you probably don't know, which kind of breaks my heart because this was a classic rock staple forever. I know no one listens to rock music anymore, but there was this amazing band called Led Zeppelin, and they had this song. And every year when they did the countdown of the top 100 songs or so on this rock station, this song was always number one. And it's a long song, but there's a line in it. Yes, there are two paths you can go back, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. And I believe that very strongly. That song, by the way, is Stairway to Heaven. If you've never heard it, you should really go listen to it because you've missed out. Led Zeppelin's it's not my favorite band. My favorite band is Van Halen. I think Eddie Van Halen was the not only the greatest guitarist of all time, I think he was the greatest five guitarists of all time. Everyone after him it was everyone else who's a great guitarist. The best they can hope to accomplish is number six because Eddie Van Halen is so good. He takes those first five spots. The man was just a genius. And one of my bucket list items, I got to see him play live at Worcester. So I'm a huge Van Halen fan. Um, and I'm a huge hair metal fan. Believe it or not, I had hair, and it was long hair when I was your age, and I was a metalhead, but it was hair metal. So enough about that. There's something called the Stanford School of Design Thinking, and it's this idea that what's really important is to try things, to make prototypes, and then to test them, to kind of brainstorm ideas and try them. And that's really what this class is about, is considering a variety of different models, exploring them, prototyping them, and seeing if it might be a fit for you. It was actually designed by this guy. This is Dr. Baruch Said, and he was the career development guy at Stanford. He then became the career development guy at Johns Hopkins University. If you ever want to go to medical school at Johns Hopkins University, it's important to know that it's not John Hopkins University. There's an S at the end of it because it's not John, it's a family name Johns. So put the S. Now he is the president of a college. I think it's Palo Alto University. It's somewhere out in California, but he's a college president now. And he talked a lot about dashboards, and this was really important to him, this idea that, and this is something you can try, you have these different dashboards in your car, so you know that if you're running low on fuel, if you're running low on oil, if your car is overheating, if you're going too fast, if your tachometer is revving too high, and you can really apply that to your life and your career. And so if you were to make little indicators on your life, like what would they say? What would your social life be? You know, would your social life tank be full? Would your academic experience be revving high, or would it be stalling out? How much you got in the tank? You know, are you being stretched too thin? Is there too much going on? Or do you do you actually have a full tank? And so that's something you should think about. Even draw them out in a notepad and just every so often do that as an exercise. I believe in chaos theory, which is that there's a really bad movie that came out. It starred Ashton Kutcher called The Butterfly Effect. But it's actually based on a kind of a cool premise. It's this idea that um, as change, the pace of change in the modern world just keeps intensifying. It gets faster and longer, and it gets harder and harder for us to be able to predict what's going to happen next. And so, because of that, it actually goes back to weather. They had started developing these really advanced meteorological projections, and they'd have it down pat every night when they would leave the office and go home. When they come in the morning, they'd be all wrong. And they found that once they got out to about 5 days or so, all the data wouldn't hold up. They couldn't figure out why. And they finally came to the conclusion that something as simple as a butterfly flapping its wings across the globe was enough to throw off their projections. And so what am I trying to get at? It's this idea that as much as you plan and sure as you're certain that things are going to go a certain way, the pace of change is so fast, it's unpredictable. So it wasn't that long ago we were telling everyone to go into coding, and that they used to joke, oh, we're closing the coal mines. Well, what do you say to coal miners? Oh, go into coding. Well, in a very short amount of time since then, AI is making it questionable whether or not coding is even a necessary occupation anymore. So the pace of change is getting faster and faster, and that first job you get out of college may not exist yet, and it may have a lifespan of only a certain number of years before it's obsolete. So you're going to have to embrace change and always be ready to adapt to changing conditions in the labor market. And that's really what chaos theory gets at. There's also Krumbold's happenstance learning theory, which posits that it's less important about what you choose, it's that you maximize the opportunities that those choices offer you. And so if you major in something and you get an internship and you run with it and they offer you a job and you throw your all into it, you could have a great career and much success, but it's more important what you do with it. Um, I can tell I'm talking too much. Some of my coworkers will put a timer on me when we're doing presentations. So there's actually an example of somebody who was a great tennis player, and he put off choosing his major. And he kept putting off choosing his major, and he started getting these notifications from the registrar's office that he was going to be academically withdrawn from school if he didn't pick a major. And he was starting to freak out about this. And finally he turned to his tennis coach. He's like, oh, he's like, what's going on? You're all over the place. You're not performing very well. He's like, oh, I'm really stressed out. About what? Well, I'm getting all these emails from well, back in that day, they probably didn't have email. I'm getting all these notices. They're probably like printed out on paper and mailed to him through the US Postal Service, saying that I'm going to be academically withdrawn if I don't pick a major. And I have no idea what major to pick. And his advisor said, well, pick psychology, of course. And so he did. And he ended up being tremendously successful in that major. And then he went on for grad. And then he went and got his doctorate. And he ended up writing books and becoming a distinguished researcher in the field of psychology. Thing is, do you know why the tennis coach had told him to do psychology? Because he was also a psychology faculty member. So at the end of the day, it's not so much what you choose as much as what you do with what you choose. And so keep that in mind too. You do have a safety net. Not only can you pivot and redirect into a different direction, but you can also make the most out of whatever you decide. So, and that's where we get in. There's also a narrative approach to career counseling where we write it all out, but I'm not going to make you do that. I'm going to limit the number of 2-page papers I give you. There's still going to be 2 pages though. So everything is in the Moodle shell. That's why I kept the course hidden a little bit longer than I was supposed to, because I was building this year's Moodle shell. If you have problems with Moodle, reach out to the Moodle help desk. And if you struggle with that, talk to me. We'll set something up. And I think we can all agree that I've probably talked too much. So let's wrap it up here in this video lecture. And again, you are responsible for everything I've covered in this lecture, in the syllabus, and in the Moodle shell. So yay! You're also responsible for anything that Dr. Kimball told us today in class. I'm actually taping this 2 weeks before that class, but at least it's the same year, right? I'm making progress. So thank you again. I'm excited that you're here. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you. Um, students mean a lot to me, and I want you to be successful, and I'm here for you. So thank you for choosing Elms. Thank you for being here. And I hope you're having a great time at Elms. And if you're not, let me know how I can help. Have a good weekend.